there, friends. Thank you so much for joining me for our games tutorial. And what we're going to be working on this week is creating a board and pieces for a game called Mancala. And I chose this for a few reasons. One of the reasons is that I used to love playing this game when I was about your age. And I recently looked it up to see the history of it. And it turns out it's one of the most ancient games, or one of the oldest games ever created. So I thought that was a pretty cool piece of information to learn about it, especially since I've liked it for so long. I really hope you like it too. The other reason is because I was thinking about some of the times that I have been in the classroom with you and you use the STEM bins. And so many of you have been so creative with the way that you make sculpture out of paper and have the best ideas. So that's what made me think of this. Now, one of the things I wanted to recommend is to choose which type of board you're going to make based on what you have available at home. So I'm going to show you more of a 2D board, which means that it's going to be flat. And then I'm going to also show you more of a 3D board, which means it's going to look more like sculpture and kind of pop off the page. Now, I used construction paper, colorful construction paper, because I wanted you to be able to see what it looks like. But you can feel free to use regular white paper, and then you can just color it in with what you like. So I just wanted to go over that before we get started. So the first step that you want to do is, if you are doing a 2D board where you're just going to draw your mat out, is that you're going to create two oval shapes at the ends of the paper. Now, you don't want to make them really big because you have to be able to fit in 12 circles, so 6 on either side. So you just want to kind of do that in pencil, as I did, to get started. That way you can adjust the ovals if you need to at any point. Okay, so again, 2 oval shapes on the end, 6 smaller circles inside. Okay, and they don't have to look perfect. Now, the other thing that I wanted to show you is this, and this is where I mentioned I used the construction paper, but you can use regular white paper. I'm going to show you what I did for this. So basically, I took oval shapes, I just drew them out, cut them out, and then these are all actually circles. And what you're going to do is you take the piece, whether it's the oval or the circle, and you just kind of fold in around the edges, okay? And you can fold it on top of each other. It almost looks like a little opening flower in a way, okay? And then you can just pop it open a little bit, and you do kind of pinch it together, almost like you're making a pinch pot with clay. And then you're going to take either glue or a piece of tape, whichever you have available, if you have that. You can honestly even leave it just on the mat as is. So I'm going to take the piece of tape, I'm going to take one side and then the other and press it together and fold it on top of each other. And I put it underneath. Then I'm going to place it down on my board, and I'm going to press and fold in the edges again. Now, it's going to take a little bit of work. I have to go back over some of my other shapes here just to make sure that everything is standing up and can hold my pieces. Okay, so I'm just going to keep creasing and keep folding, as you can see. Okay, now the next step that you'd want to do is, if you are keeping the drawing version, you're going to want to take a dark crayon, colored pencil, Sharpie if you have it, or a marker, and you're just going to want to trace over your board. Okay, so you're just going to take your dark marker. This is just so that you can see where you're going to put all your counters when you play, and you can also color in and shade in the board in the colors of your choice. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and trace over all my lines. Okay, so you'll do the whole thing. Now, once you're done with that, if again you're doing the colorful version, what I would recommend starting to do is to shade with colors that you like. Now, I'm going to pick, these are always my favorite color palette, blues and aquas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade in the corners, and I'm also going to shade in the center. I'm going to leave the edges open because there are some symbols that we're going to be adding in when we finish up next time, as well as creating our counters. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to start shading in, okay? And just layering this in. And you may hear my daughter, she's doing core 5 in the background. So we're multitasking right now. Okay, so I'm gonna shade. I'm just gonna layer in my colors so I have my theme. And again, you can choose, you don't have to do my color palette. You choose what you like and how you would like it to look. Okay. Now the same thing, if you decide to do the more sculptural one, you can always add in some shading to this one also, okay? You can also shade in the center. And like I mentioned, we're going to finish up next week by adding in some symbols that I'm going to teach you about with the next tutorial, okay? So this week would be just about really setting up the board and beginning your decorating. But you certainly don't have to be finished just yet because there are some other things that I'm going to show you to be able to complete this project. So I hope you enjoyed getting started, and I hope you're excited to see how we're going to finish it next week. Thanks for joining me.